The Olympics are over, the gold medals have been handed out, and for a few weeks, we got to see the absolute pinnacle of best on best hockey. But now, it's time for some serious hockey whiplash. We're pivoting from the high octane gold medal games in Milan to the 32nd place Vancouver Canucks. There are only 12 days left until the NHL trade deadline, and for this franchise, the next 2 weeks aren't about what happens on the ice. It's about how many pieces of this roster management can turn into a future. Today, we're breaking down the Canucks' roadmap. We're talking about, the Evander Kane domino, the unsexy center market, and a new CBA rule that just made life a lot harder for rebuilding teams. Coming out of the Olympic freeze, the Canucks are what I'd like to call a motivated seller. They have 3 key pending UFAs that must move by March 6th. But here is the interesting part. Based on what we're hearing, Vancouver isn't just looking to dump talent for picks and walk away. Management is open to quote-unquote purchasing players, guys who might need a change of scenery, or veterans on inefficient contracts that come attached to a draft pick. This is a strategy we've seen work for teams like Montreal or Chicago, but as we'll discuss later, the cap space economy has changed. Let's take a look at the Canucks' strategy. Their primary goal is, of course, future assets, picks, prospects. Their secondary goal is depth at center and young players with term. Now let's take a look at the quote-unquote untouchables. They are willing to listen on almost anyone, we already know this, but don't expect them to move the expensive veterans with no move clauses unless the players themselves proactively ask out, to which none of them have. The biggest name on the board is, of course, 34-year-old Evander Kane. He's in the final year of a deal with a $5.15 million cap hit. To be blunt, his homecoming hasn't gone to plan. With 9 goals and 25 points, he has most certainly underwhelmed here in Vancouver. However, the quote-unquote playoff performer tag carries a lot of weight in the NHL, at least for the front offices. Let's take a look at the Canucks' leverage. Canucks currently right now are willing to retain 50% on his salary, which would make it $2.57 million. The market, several teams have kicked tires on Evander Kane prior to the Olympic freeze, so keep an eye on teams like that we've mentioned, like Dallas, LA, Tampa Bay, and Colorado. Definitely keep an eye on Dallas for sure. But let's take a look at the reality check here. Kane might be a quote-unquote plan B for a lot of these teams. If they can't land a Vincent Trocheck or Ryan O'Reilly, Kane becomes the high upside fallback option. So he's option number 2. Now, according to TSN's Darren Drager, as of this morning, he mentioned that a Evander Kane trade this week is possible, if not likely, which means don't be surprised that a trade occurs this week. There's a chance that the team may also wait right up until the deadline. He actually mentions how Dallas might just wait until the very end before making that move. The Canucks aren't able to find a trade partner for Evander Kane or find something that they believe that the value that they want in return. If they can't find that, could the Canucks just simply terminate his contract? We saw this by the Leafs when it came to David Kampf. We also just saw this recently with the San Jose Sharks terminating Jeff Skinner's contract. So that is a possibility, but the question is, will the Canucks be willing to do that if they can't get a trade done, at least by the trade deadline? While Kane gets all the headlines, the real bread and butter of this deadline might be Teddy Blueger and David Kampf. Every GM in the league is currently obsessed with center depth. Blueger and Kampf, they're not stars, but they are reliable. They both returned from the Olympics healthy, which is a massive relief for Canucks management and also probably other teams who might be interested in them. But the question is, what can those 2 players get? Based on recent market trends and typical performance for depth pivots, don't expect a first-round pick. We're looking at mid-round picks, but if you're a 32nd place team, you need every lottery ticket you can get. These are must-execute trades for the Canucks. This is the technical part that could define the Canucks' success as we move on. Vancouver has about $4.3 million in cap space in the quote-unquote flat cap era. That was gold, but today, most contenders actually have a bit more breathing room. Let's take a look at the new hurdle that the Canucks are facing now. Major change in the CBA has made it illegal to acquire a player with retained salary and then flip them again within 75 days. This effectively kills the third-party broker, where rebuilding teams would launder a contract for a draft pick. Vancouver's best bet now is taking on an inefficient salary with term a player another team wants to get rid of, as long as that player comes with a high-end prospect or a draft pick attached to it. So are the Canucks going to pull off a masterclass rebuild, or are we looking at a few mid-round picks and a lot of quote-unquote what-ifs? The focus is clear. Acquire assets, find depth at center, and don't be afraid to get creative with that $4.3 million in cap space. The next 12 days will tell us exactly how this rebuild is going to take. What do you think? Should the Canucks hold out for a better deal on Kane? Should they, and if they don't get a deal that they're satisfied with, should they just terminate his contract? Or take whatever they can get right now? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'd like to thank the sponsors of this video. First up, we have Gassy Jack Art, maker of the artwork you see behind me, and you guys can check them out yourselves at GassyJackArt.com. I'd also like to thank my other sponsor, which is none other than DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, is built for the fastest game on ice. With player props and live betting, every shift, every shot, every save gives you options to get in on the game with DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN, that's code THPN, to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois, 21 plus in most states. Void in Ontario, restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which will expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. This is a limited time offer. Copyright 2026 NHL, all rights reserved. This video has been a presentation of both DraftKings Sportsbook as well as the Hockey Podcast Network. Be sure to check out the network for your favorite podcast covering your favorite team at thehockeypodcastnetwork.com, the home of hockey podcasts, where it's every team, everywhere. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to The Line Change for more daily coverage as we count down towards the trade deadline. Once again, drop your comments down below. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys on the next Line Change.